Hey guys, this is going to be a review of the 8861. This is one of the new Cisco 8800 series phones that we just released probably a couple of months ago at this point. So let's do a quick overview of the outside of the phone. I'm going to show you guys all the buttons and everything, and then I'm going to do a close-up on the display, and we can actually go through some of the menus, and I can show you guys what's new in the display here. So, first things first here, the buttons. So this is your phone button template right here. You could have up to 5 directory numbers on these things. They could be things like speed dials as well if you wanted it to. You have a little circle control button here in the middle, so I can go through different displays. Use that. There's a nice button right in the center there too for kind of like your enter button. You have the voicemail button here at the top, the settings button, which is a little gear, the directories button, and I'll show you guys that again when I zoom in here to show you what's a little bit different with the directories this time. We have the hold button, transfer button, conference, headset, speakerphone, and the mute button. So if you're used to the newer Cisco phones, the 8900 series, 9900 series phones, the layout of this phone shouldn't be confusing for anybody. It's fairly simple. There's not even any words to describe these buttons. They're just real simple. Multiple people means conference. There's an arrow pointing to a guy means transfer. So really, really easy to understand, really easy to use. End button right there at the top too. And there's also a back button when you're in the GUI here to go back a page. So that's kind of the front of the phone. Let's take a look at the sides and the back of the phone, what this thing has. So on the right side, I'm just going to take off these little covers here so you can see it. So the first one that I just took off, that's actually a USB port. And underneath it, this is going to be for your CHEM modules, your key expansion modules, your sidecars, that sort of like that operator console. Now, the USB port on the side here, I was playing around with this a little bit earlier. So this phone natively pulls 14.2 watts of power from my PoE switch. Now, I can actually plug in my cell phone to this, my Android phone, my iPhone, and without using any more power out of the switch, I can charge my cell phone right out of here. And what I figured out that I'm actually getting about 4.6 watts or so to my cell phone. I'm pulling about 920 milliamps out of this port with the phone plugged in. So that was kind of neat that I was actually able to test that. I'm powering the phone over the PoE port. So let's take a look at the back of this guy. And wires all tangled here. We'll take a look at the back here. So again, another USB port on the back here. And this one's even a little bit more interesting because now I can actually pull more power out of my switch. So remember before, this thing is taking about 14.2 watts of power, and I can use that USB port on the side and I can charge my phone. It's not pulling any more wattage out. If I use this back USB port here, I can actually pull about 6.9 watts of power and charge my phone with that. And that's enough to charge a tablet. You can charge an iPad with that. You could charge an Android tablet with that. When I do that, the thing that I figured out is that it pulls about 22.7 watts of power from the switch port. And that's powering the phone. It's also powering my tablet. And I can also have another device being powered off the side USB port, and it won't increase my power budget on the switch port here. So kind of all in with this phone here, if I had everything powered up with the USB ports plugged in, it would take about 22.7 watts of power. And I could power 2 devices with it. Just going down the line here, so here's my switch port in. So this is coming from my PoE switch to power the phone. Here's my out, so that's for my PC if I want to tether a PC to this device here. I have the aux port. And then here's my audio out and my microphone in. So the nice thing about these, in the past you had to kind of use a little RJ9 dongle to go to microphone and audio out for like a speaker system if you had something in a room. Now I have the 3.5 millimeter jacks right here native to the phone. So if you have an amplifier in a conference room and you have a speaker set up already there, you can plug directly into this device, which is awesome. And let's see what else we have on the back here. So we have the headset jack right there. So that's still there, the analog headset jack. And we also have the handset jack which is plugged in because obviously I have the handset on the front here. So I'm going to flip this guy around and we'll zoom into him and we'll go through some of the menu options. And let me just prop him up a little bit, maybe make it a little easier to see. Alright, hopefully that's good. Yeah, it looks about good. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have. So the first thing here is I'm going to go into the settings button. That was that little gear button that was down to the left, and we'll take a look at what I have. So recents, I can go into there and it's going to show all my last calls. Settings button, click that. Options for changing the wallpaper. Nothing too crazy. You can load wallpapers up here if you wanted to, or you can use some of the stock defaults. Ringtone, I could change that. Play with the brightness. Font sizes is actually kind of nice. I was messing around with this before. You could set it tiny. I don't know who would really want that, but you could see even in the upper left-hand corner there, the font gets really, really small. I had it on huge here just for the demo to increase the font size so you guys can see it a little bit easier. Honestly, I'll probably just leave it at huge because it looks nice. Phone name, if you want to change the name of the phone here. Call notifications, headset options, merge alerts, nothing too crazy in here. So let's get out of that. Bluetooth, this is where I would actually go in here and I would set up any Bluetooth devices. Really easy to do. All I did was hit add Bluetooth on my cell phone. I went in there and paired it, and it paired pretty quickly. And now you can see that it says sales Android device right there. I can delete it, go into the settings for it if I wanted to. But that's just to show you guys how that works, and we'll play around with that a little bit. Accessories. So right now, I don't really have anything plugged in. The only thing I have is the handset that's plugged into it. One of the interesting things about this phone is it's auto sensing. So let's say, and I'll flip this back over here. I just have a little, I don't know if you guys can even see this here, just a little headset with a microphone built in. And I'm going to plug this into those jacks on the back here. So first I'll plug it in to the speaker. And let's see here. I'll do this pretty quick so you can see it. And you can see that the thing actually tells you speaker is now connected. And I can do the same thing here, unplug it, and it'll actually tell you speaker has been disconnected. I can plug into the microphone, and it'll show you here that the microphone is now connected. So you can go back into your accessories there, and you can see the microphone is right there. I can show details if I wanted to on it. Yes, microphone's set up. So just to show you guys that the phone's auto sensing, it actually picks these things up right there. Let me just get this thing set down again so we can go back into it. Alright. Okay, so let's finish the tour of the settings. And we'll go to running applications. I don't have anything running on here right now, but if I did, the applications would be on here. They could be things like XML applications that you might want to load up on here, stock tickers, check the weather, that type of stuff. Administrative settings and phone information. These are the last two in here. There's a little bit of detail that I can go into on these guys here. So first one here under administrative settings is network setup. This is where I can go in here and I can say, okay, do I want to use it for Ethernet or do I want to use it for Wi-Fi? You can't have both on these phones because that would be bridging the network. That'd be usually a compliance nightmare if you're doing that. PCI, definitely a big no-no. It's either Ethernet or it's Wi-Fi for compliance reasons. So if I go into my Ethernet setup here, IPv4 setup, just going to show you guys some of the stuff that I pulled from DHCP. That's all in there. And we'll go up to the IPv4 setup. I actually turned DHCP off on this. I statically configured it for my lab. And you can go in, you can do all the stuff where you're accustomed to. Alternate TFTP server, you can turn that on or off. Pop that in there. And really nothing in here has changed in a while. For use of the old Cisco phones, pretty much the same thing. Wi-Fi client setup. We'll go here. Again, I have this turned off right now. I could turn it on if I wanted to, but here's all the information here. You'd go in, you'd pick the SSID that you want to associate it to, so your corporate SSID. Pick your security mode. You could do WEP, WPA, WPA2. That's all in here. And that's about it for that guy. Next one down here is security setup. So this is where you'd go in to clear your CTL files, your ITL files. You can do all that right from that security tab. And I think I'm going to just show you guys next here the phone information. So here's just info on the model number of the phone, the IP address that it has, the load that it's running, the 10.2.2.16. Last upgrade. So this actually didn't pull an upgrade when I plugged it into my server here. So it's showing 1970. I don't know where they came up with that one, but. And then just showing the active server there. So CUCM Pub 1 is my publisher that's hooked up to. This is a really small cluster. Okay, so let's exit that. And the next thing I'm going to show is I'm going to hit that directories button. It looks like the little phone book at the bottom. And here I can see a couple different things. So I could have my own personal directory, I could have my corporate directory, and I can even have the directory coming off my Android device because I have it paired now. So I can go into here, and these are some numbers I have programmed in my phone, and we're going to exit out of that. Okay, and I'm going to exit out of there as well. So now let's take a look at the different lines that I have programmed in here. So 8004, that's my primary extension. If I click that, I'm on that line here. I can take a look at things like recent calls, all my call history right there, unknown, Tom Smith, all these people that I called. Now I can also hover over this and I can select my Android phone, which is here. And that's interesting because it's going to pull the number right to the top here. So I can leave my cell phone when I come into the office in my pocket. For women, they can leave their cell phone in their purse or in their pocket, wherever. And it's just like your car. You walk into your desk, you walk into your car, and your car or your phone now take over calling. You can listen to it via the speaker. You can talk directly into it. And now I can use my handset, my Cisco phone, for everything, really unifying my cell phone and my desk phone as one unit now. So if I wanted to place a call from my Android device, I just have to go in here and, I can hit the speaker button if I wanted to, and I can just dial a number. And you guys will see that the call is actually coming from this device here. And I just called 1-800-FLOWERS. So
1-800-FLOWERS.com.
You get the volume settings right there.
If you're calling to place an order, please press 1. To check the status of
and DTMF tones work, so I can press those as well.
Speak with a customer service rep.
And I'm just going to end this call before they get angry at us. So there I just placed a call on my mobile device there. I can switch back again to my line. Let's say I want to call my voicemail.
Cisco Unity connection messaging.
I hit that. Now I'm into my voicemail. So those are kind of the big features of this phone. These soft buttons, again, I can make them do whatever. I just use a default template here. I can forward all, but you can make those really anything you guys want. So that's kind of the high-level overview of the 8800 series phones and the 8861. The 8861 is definitely the flagship phone in the 8800 series. So if you guys have any questions, you should know where to reach me. Thanks a lot.